Hello, everybody. I hope that you're having a blessed day and that you're feeling great. We usually see each other on Sunday, but today is a Friday. I figured that I'd try something a bit different. So we'll see how this goes. And yeah, the message for the day is about letting God rebuild you. And we'll be reading from 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 10. And the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, after you have suffered a little while, will himself restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. Now, when we talk about rebuilding, that means that something has been broken. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because a lot of us have one big problem, and it's in relation to how God's plan for our life looks like versus what our current lives look like. Most of us think that the disconnect is due to the fact that we may not be doing things well, or maybe that, the promise isn't really what it is. But I'll explain why it's not always a problem and why, like this verse mentions, can actually be a good thing. Now, as this verse mentions, after you have suffered a little while, he will himself restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. Now, in order to restore something, usually it has to be broken down. And we feel that we're being broken down for no reason. We're being broken down because we're not good enough. We're being broken down because we're not where we're meant to be. But God never puts us in a situation that we cannot handle. And that's not for no reason. If you can handle the situation, that means that you can see the other side. And if you can see the other side of it, that means that there's a story to tell. And behind every story are experiences and lessons learned. And rather than looking at your life as a failure, you need to look at all the lessons you can learn. I think one thing that has really helped me and that is helping me learn more with time is look at all the negative things that happen in my life and see how I can learn from them. Your mindset and the way you approach hard times is very, very important. As they say in life, there are no losses, it's just lessons learned. And that all comes down to how you decide to approach situations. Now, if you adopt that mindset rather than one of negativity and victimizing yourself, you will learn and come out of those situations stronger, more firm, and more steadfast. And when you look back on these situations, most of the time, you will realize that you actually needed to go through that in order to better deal with future projects, future objectives. You know, it could be for various things, but you always look back and go, I'm glad that I went through that. If I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't know what I know, and maybe my faith wouldn't be as strong as it is. Maybe my relationship, with Christ wouldn't be what it is. So it's important to take that into account. I'll end this video off by talking a bit about my story. Now, I won't go too deep into details, but it's just to show you how you see things and how things actually pan out can look very different, but ultimately work out for the greater good. So, as you may or may not know, I'm now studying in Spain as an exchange student. Now, initially when I came here, I came in with the intention to obviously study, but also to heavily pursue a sport that I still play to this day. But I initially came here with the intention of really going all in with that sport. And I wouldn't say that I lost sight of God in the process, but he definitely wasn't at the center of my life. Now, just for a bit of context, he's always been very important to me. I would never do something without consulting him. I would never, step into big things without, bringing it onto him. But there's a big difference in between having him as an important part of your life and having him as a center. And once I came out here, and I was just confronted to myself, I realized that, and that's kind of when I was called away to my sport, well, from my sport, rather. It was a big shock for me at first. I didn't want to accept it because I really came here for that, at least partially. But with a bit of reflection and with a bit of thought, I realized that I not only needed time away from it to find myself, but also to strengthen my relationship with Christ and put Him at the center of my life. And now that I'm going through it, I've actually decided to take the year off this sport. I'll get back to it in the beginning of next season. But now that I look back, I would not have had it any other way. So many things have changed, but for the better. And even me doing this channel, right? Through me giving up that sport for a year came this channel. So if it wasn't for me accepting to, go through that and give that up, right? And put Him at the center of my life, I wouldn't even be doing this video right now. Just to give a bit of context. And to be honest, when I look at my future career, because my career has not really started, but I know that looking back, I would not have wanted it to start any earlier, or for it to reach a certain level earlier than it could have, without me taking that time off to rebuild my faith and really put Him at the center of my life. So yeah, that's just a bit of a personal story to show you guys that the same way you can go through this is the same way I can go through this. So yeah, I really want to encourage you guys to look at your lives a bit differently. Sometimes, yes, you may be failing. Yes, you may be going through tough times, but always learn as much as you can from it. There's always something to learn. There's always something to get out. And, let God rebuild you. Don't always resist. It's not the easiest of things to do, but God's ways are not always our ways. God's understanding is not our understanding. So when you actually put Him at the center of your life and a lot of things start crumbling down or being taken away from you, that's part of the process. Now, you may not have thought about it, but it's part of the process. So let Him do His thing. Learn what you have to learn. Adopt a more positive mindset. And surely all will be good.